This is the largest salt barn on the East Coast, and equipment operators are hard at work, making sure all this gets here before this does. Child molestation has long been a stain on the Catholic Church, but Pope Francis has been applauded for creating what is called the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors. President Trump signed 3 more executive orders late today, including an expanded lobbying ban and changes to the National Security Council.
Actually, it was just dirt.
Oh, does this have real dirt in it?
It was just dirt.
That's nasty.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You better have liked that, Internet, giving kids a place to play soccer and showcase their skills. Hurricane Joaquin is still making its way up the East Coast, but Maryland citizens are already feeling the effects of the storm here in Baltimore. Frigid temperatures and icy weather didn't stop hundreds of people from waiting outside for hours for the perfect Christmas gift. The First Street Tunnel project, when completed, will be 2,700 feet long and hold up to 9 million gallons of water. One of the greater ramifications of people throwing out mac and cheese as a side. That's what we're dealing with here.
My name is Jan Wojnowski. I'm 72 and I'm on a mission.
If you drive past the Vatican's U.S. Embassy, you'll see him. He stands alone, driven by his obsession, the sexual abuse of children by Catholic priests.
My life was ruined by a Catholic pedophile priest.
For the last 17 years, the Polish immigrant and retired steelworker has done the same thing every day. At 3:21 p.m., he takes a bus from his home in Bladensburg to the metro and rides to D.C.
It's a terrible crime. Many will never tell. Many commit suicide.
It takes another bus to get to the embassy, known as the Apostolic Nunciature, and that is where Pope Francis will spend his 2 nights in Washington. Child molestation has long been a stain on the Catholic Church, but Pope Francis has been applauded for creating what is called the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors. Wojnowski says words are easy.
It's much smarter than the previous one. Absolutely, head and shoulders about the... But still, he's a company man.
And while he does not know what security will be like when the Pope arrives, Wojnowski is determined to hold his ground.
I'm standing here regardless.
Through the years, Wojnowski says passersby have called him a loser, told him to get over it, get a life, made obscene gestures. He even had a priest spit in his face.
I've been standing here for 17 years.
Standing?
Yes, sir. Have you heard about Catholic priests sexually abusing children? Are you Catholic?
You bet I am. I'm proud to be one.
No matter the weather, Wojnowski stays until dark.
It's strange to me, but my life would have no meaning if I wouldn't do it.
Then he packs up and heads home, knowing he'll be right back out again the next day.
No reason for me to stop. Why I would stop? Would you stop?
Is it too early to start thinking about snow? Not in Montgomery County, where the Department of Transportation held a snow summit to showcase their strategies to plow through any difficulties this season's winter storms might bring. Those strategies include the use of GPS navigation, tracking the truck drivers via cell phone, and updating the public on social media.
So any driver can pull up that information when he's going in and out of his route.
They've pulled out all the stops because storms are expensive.
Nationally, snowstorms cost as much as $7 million a day.
They use everything from salt trucks and plows to
A lot of shovels.
This is the largest salt barn on the East Coast, and equipment operators are hard at work, making sure all this gets here before this does. During a storm, these workers are constantly on call.
If it's heavy snow, we'll show up and bring our overnight bags and change of clothes.
But they know it's just part of the job.
It's grueling at times, but it's all in how you prepare for it. It makes it or breaks it.
And in the end, it's all about one thing.
For us to get out and be efficient and effective with this operation so we can keep things moving and keep folk working.
They're keeping the roads salty so you don't have to be. In Gaithersburg, Stephen Pimpo, CNS TV. Back in his home of Aleppo, Syria, Ahmed Bitar was a well-known journalist.
I had like thousands of followers.
But all that changed in 2012 after he refused to work for both the Syrian regime and those affiliated with Al-Qaeda.
I kept receiving threats that if you are not with us, it means that you are against us, even though I tried to say that if I'm with anybody, I will be easy target.
So he fled to the U.S., where he's built a new life. He met his wife here and currently works as a translator for clients across the globe. But so many others left behind are still trying to escape the violence.
Blood is everywhere, and dead bodies, like you can wake up and you found a dead body next to your building.
Including Bitar's own mother and sisters.
Oh, I'm checking on them daily. It's always like random murders, random snipers, and snipers, they are shooting just every movable object. They don't care if you are with or against. You are just here in that street at that moment.
Since 2014, the U.S. has resettled 2,078 Syrian refugees across the country, including 38 in Maryland. Of those, 93% are Sunni Muslim, close to 3% are Muslim, almost 2% are Christian, and less than 1% are Shiite Muslim, with the other nearly 1% a mix of religions. And Bitar feels their pain.
Technically, I can say myself as a refugee because refugee is a person who was forced to leave his country. And if there is no war, I would rather be in my country trying to help.
Bitar says it's fair to require additional checks on refugees. But there's a line between protection and discrimination.
100% support any attempts to have more screening on those people, but preventing them from having a second chance, it would be just unfair, and this is not an American standard.
And Bitar says he wants to use his voice for others.
Like being here on this interview, it's helping because I'm speaking on behalf of those people who are still there and they can't, raise their voice to say we are not terrorists.
In Washington, Stephen Pimpo, CNS TV.
My goodness, what message are we sending to the world today?
Backlash after an executive order. Chaos in airports across the country. An Iraqi citizen who aided our troops detained overnight in New York. And Virginia's governor calls for action as lawyers flood a local airport. Plus, breaking new developments in a gruesome scene in McLean. Police identify the victims and what happened inside a home that left 3 people dead. And feeling like winter again? Josh tells us how long the cold weather sticks around.
Now, ABC 7 News at 6 on your side.
Chaos and confusion over President Trump's executive order banning refugees and limiting immigration. Overseas, airlines are turning away passengers headed to the U.S. Those already on planes when the order went into effect have been detained. Tonight, one of 2 Iraqis with ties to the U.S. military detained at New York's JFK airport has been released.
I have a special immigration visa in my passport, me and my family, because I work with the U.S. government. I support the U.S. government from the other side of the war. But when I came here, they said no, and they treat me as I break the rules or do something wrong. I surprised Lily.
The executive order bans all refugees from the U.S. for 120 days and Syrian refugees indefinitely. It also blocks anyone from the 7 majority Muslim countries, including Iraq, from coming to the U.S. for 90 days. Just a little over an hour ago, we learned at least 1 family was being detained at Dulles International Airport. That news coming from the very emotional Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. Cheryl Connor is there live with more on this developing story.
Not hate. That's what makes America great.
This is the United States of America. And unfortunately, this executive order, as you can see from the folks here, discriminatory actions breed hatred toward America. We don't need this. It's not our value system. We are a land of immigrants. Everybody came here from somewhere else, and the actions have been taken.
The entry ban also includes people with green cards returning from the 7 majority Muslim countries. Those countries are Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen. There are conflicting reports as to whether these people will be allowed back on a case-by-case basis. People with dual nationality in any of these 7 countries are also banned from entering the U.S. President Trump signed 3 more executive orders late today, including an expanded lobbying ban and changes to the National Security Council. Earlier, he spoke by phone with 5 world leaders, including Vladimir Putin of Russia. The White House said the two agreed on the need to, quote, unify efforts to fight ISIS and the status of sanctions. The White House also said the president discussed the importance of NATO with German Chancellor Angela Merkel and invited Japan's prime minister to the White House next month. New developments tonight. A Fairfax County neighborhood desperate for answers after 3 people were found dead by a family member on Friday afternoon in McLean. Tonight, new details from police. They've released the names of the dead in what they say was a double murder-suicide. Our Ryan Hughes is in McLean with the developments.
A quiet community in McLean still shaken more than 24 hours after 3 people were found dead inside this home. Family friends breaking down in tears today. They tell ABC 7 48-year-old Shirley Zhao, her husband 52-year-old Hong Chen, and their 16-year-old son James Chen, a sophomore at Langley High School, lived here for about 6 years.
You just don't want to believe something like this to happen to anyone, not alone your own friends.